Hello and welcome back to another season of UCL Fantasy content. Today we are going to be taking a look at the chip strategy for this year. We do obviously have our fixtures announced and we have already done a little bit of Champions League content as well. We had our live stream last week and this is where we pretty much looked at all the fixtures and decided what could be the best potential chip strategy. So for today's video we have gathered all the fixtures and looked at the best potential chip strategies for the knockout stages. If you don't know already, with the new format and 8 match days in the league stage, both your chips, the Limitless and the Wildcard, are best used in the league stage. There's too many fixtures with no real pattern to find, a good run of, a single team's fixtures. So you want to be using the Limitless and you want to be using the Wildcard in the first 8 match days of the league stage. But before we do get into it, make sure you join my mini league. It is on screen and you can use the auto link down in the description. Make sure you get into that this year. If you are new to the channel, I have my rank history just below. I did have my worst ever season in Champions League Fantasy last year, which was unfortunate. A couple of poor decisions, and then in the final not having Desiree Douay was really what what harmed me and led to the 19,000. But still, it was a top 10% rank last year. Obviously before that, 595th, 1,400th the year previous to that. With 4 years experience at Champions League Fantasy, we are hoping to hopefully break into the top 100 this year. I've been very close in the last 2022, 2023 and 23-24 was very close to the top 100, and both times it was the final that let me down. And again, you could argue the same in 24-25, not having Desiree Douay. So that's just if you're new to the channel. We are just going to jump into now the chip strategy. Now, what we are going to start with is the fixtures. Now, this is the fixture ticker thanks to FPL Manual over on Twitter. His link will be down in the description, but if you also want to download this fixture ticker, the link will also be in the description. So this is what we're looking at for the fixtures from match day 1 to 8. And I have ranked it in order of difficulty as well. Now, the way I believe FPL Manual has done the fixture difficulty rating for this is based on team's form, how good the team is compared to the fixture that they are playing against. So you will notice, down the bottom, you've got the likes of Union SG, Karabag, Kyra, Almaty, Paphos, and the not so great teams in the Champions League are going to have, all red fixtures, because all of these games for those teams are going to be extremely difficult. Then when you look towards the top, you're going to see a lot of your bigger teams, and that's what we're going to focus on today with our chip strategy, because obviously those are the players that you are going to be wanting to have in your team. So those are the fixtures we are going to be targeting. Now, just based on the fixtures in general, Barcelona do look to have one of the better runs. Spurs as well, with a fantastic run as well. You've got Juventus in there, you've got Napoli and Bayern Munich in there as well. But this might be a little bit daunting off the start. So what we can do is take away all of the red and grey fixtures and just leave us with the green fixtures. Now, this is kind of how we can determine what can be a good chip strategy. Because obviously in UCL Fantasy we are going to be going for a lot of the bigger teams, which you can see really in the top 16, 17, maybe even the top 20. They're the kind of teams that we want to be getting players from, and obviously we want to be targeting those green fixtures. Now, what we can see straight away is that match day 5 doesn't have a lot of green fixtures in it, and match day 1 also doesn't have a lot of green fixtures in it for our big teams, of course. Now, what this means is, of course, a lot of the bigger teams are going to have difficult fixtures in match day 1 and difficult fixtures in match day 5. And if you bring those back, you can see the fixtures that each team does have. So the likes of Manchester City and Napoli are playing against each other. Bayern Munich and Chelsea are playing each other. Liverpool and Atletico Madrid playing against each other. Newcastle and Barca playing against each other as well. So a lot of teams that you would want to have players from do have really difficult fixtures in match day 1. And then you can look at match day 5 as well. Chelsea and Barca play each other, Spurs and PSG play each other, Arsenal and Bayern Munich, etc, etc. So those are the match days that we're not going to want to have some of the players from our bigger teams. And what that does mean is that we can start to adjust our chip strategy to have the good players from the good teams at times where they have green fixtures, and that's going to be out with match day 5 and match day 1. So as you can see around match day 5, there's a lot of green fixtures, and if you look at maybe Chelsea as an example, down there they have Barcelona in match day 5, and around that they've got Benfica green fixture, Ajax green, match day 4 a green, then match day 6 and 7 they have a green again. Tottenham the same, match day 2 green, match day 3 green, match day 4 green, match day 6 a green, and then a bit more difficult in match day 7. So what we want to do is have all of these players for around, match day 2, 3, 4, 6 and 7 and potentially 8 as well, but we don't want to have them in match day 5, which is perfect because that's when we can use the Limitless chip. Now if you don't know what the Limitless chip is, basically it gives you the chance to pick your dream squad for one match day only. So you get an unlimited budget for one match day, and then after that match day is finished you go back to your original team. So absolutely perfect for what we are looking to do in match day 5, because then we can take all of our players out for match day 5 and go for the teams with green fixtures, and then get all of the big players back again in match day 6 for the remaining greens. You could say the same as well for match day 1. Again, you can't use any chips in match day 1, which means we are going to have to set up our team for the match day 1 fixtures. But what we can then do is use the wildcard chip in match day 2, because that means that we can avoid all of the red fixtures in match day 1, purely target the green fixtures, and then wildcard all of the big teams with good fixtures in match day 2 back into our teams, and that way we'll have basically a free hit for match day 1. We could have our wildcard team for match day 2, 3 and 4, limitless all of those players out in match day 5 and get them all back again for the green fixtures in match day 6, 7 and 8. Now if you do play fantasy football regularly, you will know what the wildcard chip is. It basically just allows you to change your squad permanently, with unlimited free transfers. If you want to know more about the chips, it is over on my how to play UCL fantasy video, which I will link at the end, when make sure to go and watch that if it is your first season playing. But on screen you can see why the match day 2 wildcard is potentially going to be extremely useful. We've got a lot of big teams that we would want to pick players from. Juventus, Napoli, Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City are in there as well, Newcastle are in there as well, and they all have really difficult fixtures in match day 1, and you can see the sea of green fixtures from match day 2 onwards as well. More so for the likes of Napoli, they've got 4 green fixtures in there, but you've also got teams with 3. For example, Chelsea, home to Benfica, home to Ajax, away to Karabag. You are going to want to have Chelsea players in your team, but for that first fixture against Bayern Munich, it really doesn't look too great. So the wildcard is looking like a really, really nice move, because then you can bring in players from all of these teams for a fantastic run of green fixtures. Obviously that's going to leave us with just a match day 1 team to try and build, because we're going to change the entire team in match day 2, and you can aim for teams from, you can aim for players from these teams. We've got Spurs with a nice fixture, Arsenal with a nice fixture, Real Madrid, PSG, again a team that has a very, very difficult run this season. You can still get some PSG players in for match day 1, Inter Milan as well with some really nice ones, and if you want to target some of the newer teams to the Champions League, you can get some budget options from Sporting, who are playing against Kairat Almaty at home. Olympiacos are playing against Paphos at home as well. Benfica against Karabag. So you can definitely get a really, really solid team for match day 1, and that essentially just allows you to start the best possible way in UCL Fantasy this year before getting a full rebuild of your team in match day 2. Now we can look at match day 5 now as well, where we would potentially want to use that Limitless, and again you can see why the Limitless is going to be the best for match day 5. Again, we've got lots of huge teams down the left hand side, players that we are teams that we're going to want players from. We've got Barcelona, Spurs, Bayern, Chelsea, Arsenal, PSG, etc. And again, you can see the sea of green fixtures all surrounding match day 5, which is going to have all of the difficult fixtures for these teams. teams. So again, you can wildcard in, players from these teams, Barcelona on match day 2, Bayern, Chelsea, all in match day 2, and get them for the green fixtures in match day 3, 4, 6, and 7. And if you just use that limitless chip in match day 5, yes, you aren't going to be able to, fully maximize the budget because you're not going to have, players from these teams, but you are still going to have a very, very solid team and, teams that are going to have good fixtures, which I would argue is more important than making the most use out of the unlimited budget. However, you still can get expensive players. Juventus have a really nice game. Liverpool, Real Madrid, Man City all have, of course, expensive players in their team and do still have really nice fixtures in match day 5. So I wouldn't worry too much about potentially wasting that limitless because you're not going to get the the unlimited budget, because you are going to be able to still get players from expensive teams. Napoli against Karabag at home is also looking like a fantastic fixture. So for me, match day 2 wildcard, match day 5 limitless is looking like such a good strategy for this year. There are some other chip strategies that you could potentially look into. Personally, I don't think they come near to wildcard 2 and limitless 5, but you can obviously have another look about. I'm not going to go too in depth to these strategies. They are ones that are possible that you could potentially look at, that you might want to do yourself. Obviously, one of the big strategies is using the limitless or the wildcard in match day 8, when of course there's going to be lots of rotation from teams and you're going to be able to see every single lineup available. So that is a really nice time to use a chip. I just don't feel as though it's going to be as worth it as the limitless in 5 and the wildcard in 2. But obviously you can look into this yourself. There is pros and cons to each of these, and there is obviously going to be pros and cons to wildcard 2, limitless 5 as well. But that is pretty much all there is for today's video. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more Champions League fantasy content. Make sure to leave a comment as well and let me know what chip strategy you're potentially going to be looking for, and do you agree with the wildcard 2 and limitless 5 strategy. So thank you all so much for watching. Again, if this is your first season, make sure to check out the how to play UCL fantasy video, which is on screen now, and I'll see you all in the next one.